if I were to do an example, let's say I had f of x equals square root of x plus 2, and g of x equals x squared plus 5x plus 6. So, I'm going to find the domain of both of these first. What's the domain of square root of x plus 2? How do we find the domain? So the questions are what? Is it a fraction? Is it an even root? Right? Is there a fraction?
Yeah.
Is there an even root?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. What do you do if it's an even root?
Greater than or equal to 0.
Close. Greater than or equal to 0. So x is greater than or equal to negative 2, which, how do we write that in interval notation? Negative 2 to what?
Infinity.
Infinity. What does negative 2 have, a bracket or parentheses?
The bracket.
Bracket, because there's an equal to. What does infinity always have? Parentheses, good. G of x. Is there an even root? No. Is there a fraction? No. So then what is it? Yeah, but what's the domain? Well, what's the domain of any parabola?
All real numbers.
Good. Negative infinity to infinity, all real numbers. So let's say we have f of x plus g of x. Well, f of x plus g of x is square root of x plus 2 plus x squared plus 5x plus 6. There are no like terms, so we cannot combine anything, so we leave it the way it is. The domain is the smaller of the two domains. Which is smaller?
X plus 2 squared. Yeah.
The left one or the right one? The left one, good. So it's going to be negative 2 to infinity. That's it for that.
That's really cool.
F of x minus g of x is square root of x plus 2 minus x squared plus 5x plus 6. But we have to distribute the negative.
Do we always have to find the domain first?
You always have to find the domain, yeah.
Okay.
So there are no like terms to combine, so we can leave it. What's the domain for this one? The smaller one, exactly. So the same.
We have to do that for both of them?
You have to do it for all.
I mean, that's what I meant, like we have to do the, you have to do multiple.
Yeah. So multiplying is square root of x plus 2 times x squared plus 5x minus 6. What that does is just distribute this. So x squared times square root of x plus 2 plus 5x times square root of x plus 2 minus 6 times square root of x plus 2. There's no real combined like terms, so you're kind of done. What's the domain for this one? Which is?
The small one.
Negative 2 to infinity. The last one is square root of x plus 2 over x squared plus 5x plus 6. Now, this domain is a little different. It's a smaller domain, however, the bottom cannot be equal to 0. So, x squared plus 5x plus 6 is not equal to 0. Can this thing be factored? Into? Not quite.
X plus 3, x plus 2.
X plus 3 and x plus 2. So we set each one of those equal to 0 and solve, or not equal to 0 in this case. So x cannot be negative 3 and x cannot be negative 2. So what I'm going to do is graph the smaller domain. That would be from negative 2 to infinity. I would, generally speaking, have a solid up here and go up to infinity. However, this tells me that x cannot equal negative 3. Well, I don't care because x can't be equal to negative 3 anyway for that one. But what about this? X cannot be equal to negative 2. So what kind of circle should I have on there?
Open.
Open.
Yes.
So that changes my domain from being a bracket to what? Good. Parentheses what?
Negative 2 to infinity.
Good. And that's it.